This bonus lesson is called Overlapping Whipsaw is all you need to know about wave B. And in particular, we will be talking about a corrective pullback that happened at the end of February 2020, at the beginning of March 2020, after the first leg down in ES Mini of the top made in February 2020. And that video lesson would be added to my video course Trade Like a Pro: How to Use Wave Analysis to Find Winning Trade Setups. Just to give you an idea where it all started at the top of wave 3, which is labeled as parenthesis 3, and that wave started in 2011 and lasted for 8.5 years, and of that top we expected a major ABC move down, a corrective wave for down. And in this particular case, ES Mini was following a regular flat corrective structure, and that regular flat corrective structure has two main legs down, subwave A04 and subwave C04. And you can see that the distinctive feature of that structure is that the first leg down in subwave parenthesis A is itself subdivided into A down, B up, and C down. We will be talking about wave B up in that lesson, that particular part of that fractal. It's a corrective wave inside a corrective wave, so that the whole structure is corrective, and that wave B is a small pullback inside that corrective structure. This is why it's so difficult to predict that move up, because the whole move here is like a constant battle between bulls and bears. Because remember, the move up still has an underlying up momentum, but bears are fighting bulls here, and because bulls got exhausted here, you can see those two huge wicks on monthly candles. They are bigger than they had been for months, so that's why bears are counterattacking them, and every move up is a chance for bulls to counterattack and to push price high to a new higher high, but they just cannot do it anymore. They are weak. But bears at the beginning of the move are not that confident that they are really weak, and this is why we have so many moves up and down, and I will show you that actual example and you will understand what I am talking about. So the first move down may be more complex. On that diagram you could see that the first move down could be micro ABC down, but in the actual chart you will see that in this particular case it was not ABC, it was ABC followed by ABC, and together it comprised so-called double 3 corrective structure. Those structures are composed of two ABCs connected by a technical wave X. If you want to study that structure, I strongly recommend you to watch another lesson which was added to my video course Predict the Market with Harmonic Elliott Wave Analysis. This is introductory course, and that particular lesson was called How Quickly Distinguish a Corrective from an Impulsive Structure, and it was made based on that specific example. But let's come back to the main subject of our lesson, of a new lesson about subwave B up. And before we talk about that subwave B up, basically we need to identify a starting point of that pullback in wave B up, and the starting point of wave B up is the point of completion of the first leg down of subwave A down. And here we are coming back to the double 3 corrective structure. We could measure the first move down in WX, that is the first ABC. We projected from the top of a corrective wave X up. We add 100%, 105.4, 116.4, and 123.6. Normally people will be watching for 100% extension, and that would be wrong, because it's too cheesy. Everybody knows it, and that's why market normally would slice through that and will find support at lower levels. In this particular case, you can see that 105.4 almost perfectly nailed the very bottom. But when we deal with those extension levels, it's not enough to make a confident call about the bottom. So what we really need to do, we need to micro count the very final push down. Again, double tree structure is composed of two ABC structures, ABC and ABC. And normally, in any corrective ABC structure, the final subwave C should have an impulsive structure. That means it should have 5 microwaves. Look at that subwave C, 1, 2, ABC of 3, ABC of 4, ABC of 5, and look at that extended, very powerful final push down in subwave C of wave Y that is about to complete the double tree corrective structure. You can get 1, 2, very strong 3 down, 4, and the final push down in ABC of wave 5, of the microwave 5. Let's zoom into that structure. This is almost perfect 5 wave down structure. When we can get enough waves to call that microstructure, that 5 wave down fractal complete, we can play one trick. We can add the red down trend line, which would connect top of corrective microwaves 2 and 4, and we will be waiting for a breakout. That would be the first sign of a completion. But we would not be very focused on the breakout itself, but we would rather be looking for a retest after the breakout. That is a really great sign that the move down has completed. Look, it made ABC up, and we count it as a micro A, and then push down in B, retesting that broken red trend line, and then price immediately popped up over that red trend line. That is a great confirmation that the impulsive move down got completed, and it was a great micro long setup. In addition to that, look, that could be counted, that could be considered as an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Look at that. That is left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder, and that is a reversal, bullish reversal pattern, which is recognized by millions of traders. Once we see that, we come on board and we add the money on the table, and this is what pushes price but strongly upwards. Very important topic of that lesson is just to explain you what is an overlapping structure. This is the 5 wave up impulsive structure, and under the 5 wave up impulsive structure, after the first push up in ABC, which can be labeled as wave 1, followed by a pullback making ABC down and making a higher low, we labeled as wave 2, we get another push higher, and that is the first leg up in wave 3. This is subwave A of 3, and after that it should produce another pullback in subwave B of 3. Normally it comes as a shallow pullback, and again it should make a higher low in comparison to the low made by the previous corrective wave 2 down. But what is really important is that the top of wave 1 up normally creates a very strong support zone. Sometimes it goes deeper, and then the top of subwave A of wave 1 creates such a strong support zone. And the deeper it goes, the deeper corrective subwave B down goes underneath that level. Normally, is the stronger the following reaction is when the strongest part of the rally in subwave C of wave 3 starts. So that level actually creates a strong support underneath. We can call it demand zone. What is really important in that in impulsive structure, once price tests the demand zone and it pops up afterwards, it does not come back down again. That is one of the signs of an impulsive structure. But when you look at that structure that we got in ES Mini after completion of the first move down that actually bottomed at the very end of February 2020. You can see this is February 28th, and that was the bottom. We got ABC up, and if it was an impulsive structure, we could count it as wave 1. Then we got ABC down, and we could count it wave 2. Then it started to move up as if it was A of 3, and then it dropped down again, making a new lower low. That was the first red signal. That was the first red flag, because it should not happen in an impulsive structure. Look at that. After the ABC down of wave 2, it should start moving higher and higher, making a sequence of higher lows. But we got that lower low, and at that point it looked kind of suspicious to me if it was going to count it as an impulsive structure. But okay, we could say it's kind of a complex wave 2 down. This is wave 1, this is wave 2. That's okay. And then we got the very first push higher. But look what happened then. If it was A of 3, as if it was the diagram, then we should have like a shallow zigzag down in subwave B down of wave 3 before the strongest part of the rally in subwave C of 3. But let's see what actually happened. Actually, we got a very strong drop down with a gap. That was something which did not fit the scenario of an impulsive structure. At that point, you see, that was the first push down, and it did not follow ABC structure. That was very, very strange if it was counted as an impulsive structure. Then it made another push high, and let's assume that was 1, 2, A of 3, and even though it did not have ABC structure, it was B of 3. Then from here we should be expecting a very strong rally, stronger than that one in subwave C of 3. But in fact, it got another push higher, made a higher high, but it did not get high enough to be called C of 3, and then drop down again. And that was the sign that we do not have with an impulsive structure, because you see, if it was wave 1 up, and if it was that demand zone in an impulsive structure, price should not get into that zone twice. And this is what happened then, and this is what we can call overlapping. You see, subwave C of 3 was supposed to go up higher and higher, not coming back to the area which had already been retested by that drop down. This is why we call it overlapping. We are talking about that structure. So what we got was A, B, C up, and coming back to our diagram, that was ABC up, and then we should get ABC down. Each wave is composed of ABC, 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 and even that wave is composed of ABC. Again, that was another sign that you were dealing with an unfolding corrective structure. After completion of the first push up, that A up, we should expect a corrective ABC move down. Because that whole move up is a corrective, you could expect a deep pullback, and you could expect that subwave B down to be structured as ABC. So essentially, you do not see ABC subdivision here, but essentially we are dealing with the very same fractal. That wave B of a higher degree should have the very same structure as that wave B of a lower degree. And you can see here better that after the first ABC up, we should get ABC down. Let's come back to the actual chart. We got that drop here, which did not have ABC subdivision. And when it happened, you could actually start counting it as double 3, because under the double 3 corrective structure, remember, we should expect 2 ABC moves of the law, connected by a technical wave X, because it's called technical because it does not have a microstructure. It's just a mean by which those two ABC structures are interconnected. So once you get such strong drop, straight drop without any structure, your first thought should be it might be wave X, which would start which would give a start to another ABC move down. And we can count what followed as another ABC down. Look, that is A, that is B, and an impulsive rally in the final subwave C or wave Y, completing the double 3 corrective structure. However, we can still count it as a regular flat, and we can still count the drop as part of wave B, which basically would be structured as a running flat. Under the running flat structure, first we get A down, B up, which makes a new higher high, and C down, and together that ABC, where C is unable to retest the low made by subwave A, is called running flat, and that could be wave B. So if it was that zigzag up was A, that zigzag down was B, then we should expect, under the regular flat structure, the final wave C, alternative C, which should be subdivided into 5 microwaves. And the second alternative in this case, again, we are coming back to the double 3 structure, ABC up, connected by a straight drop of a technical wave X. Now, you could say how we can tolerate, how we can trade that uncertainty. And this is very important to understand, that we really do not care at all whether it was double 3 or regular flat corrective structure, because in both cases the final move had to have an impulsive structure, and that structure would let us to pinpoint the exact top of the whole corrective structure. Let me explain you again. So if you are here and if you are there, and if you think it's double 3, okay, you still expect ABC up, okay? If it's alternative number 1 and you think, okay, that ABC was a running flat and we still need to get subwave C up. And this is what I keep trying to explain you, that there will be many times when you would have two very probable counts. But as long as those two counts forecast a move, maybe of different magnitude, but in one direction and from one starting point, you are good. You can trade it because you do not care what kind of structure will be played, as soon as you can nail the direction of the next move and approximately find a target for that move. And this is exactly what happened here. And what is really important is that that is another great example of a double 3 corrective structure where the very final move was actually the strongest one and the cleanest one. Look, we get 4 pushes up. Look at those green boxes. Inside the double 3 structure, we got 4 pushes up. And the last one was the strongest one. And the last one in subwave C or wave Y had very clean 5 microwaves up. Now, I want to show you how basically we could nail the top. So when we talk about an impulsive 5-wave up fractal, I want to remind you how it looks like. It is subdivided into 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is type, which should be A, and that should be B of subwave A and subwave B of wave 1. Now I'm showing you the actual chart I posted for my subscribers on March 3rd, 2020 at 8:35 a.m., 1 hour before the market was open. And look what I wrote. ES, one more push higher would complete a microstructure of the whole bounce. ES may push one more time in the very final subwave C or wave 5 up. After completion of that push, I expect a strong drop that can quickly erase at least 100 points. Let me explain you why. Remember, we discussed two alternatives. That was ABC, the first ABC, that could be W, that could be wave X, and then we needed to get the final ABC, because double 3 has word double, it should have 2 ABC structures, and the final ABC structure, the final subwave C, has to have an impulsive structure. This is the starting point of that fractal, This is the 5-wave up fractal. Remember, this is it. And at that point, at 8:35 a.m., we were here. Subwave B down has made a high low in comparison to the low made by the previous corrective wave 4 down. Look at the microfractal, at the fractal. This is 5-wave up fractal. We are here. We need to get that push higher, and it should have an impulsive structure, and in many times the very final subwave C of wave 5 would come as a very strong spiky move up, almost as of the same strength as the strongest part of the rally in subwave C of 3. And look what happened. Like, just look at that move up. You remember what happened then? FOMC announced a surprise cut in interest rate, so nobody knew that, and I did not have a clue it's gonna happen. But our fractal told us we need to expect that push higher to around 3124, and just 30 minutes after, you see, it slightly overshot 3124, but you know, it looks like magic, right? It just came from nowhere. But I kept saying we are dealing with the fractal. The fractal suggests that for a perfect completion of the fractal, we needed to get that push high, and we got it. And this is what I wrote to my subscribers at 10 o'clock in the morning, immediately after that spike. ES spiked and delivered the final push higher I expected. ES spiked higher and completed the 5-wave up structure. This is our 5-wave up structure. It is starting from here, and it got completed here. This spike has stacked 50% retracement of the whole drop from the top. Remember, when you deal with that impulsive structure, you should not forget that the whole move up here is a corrective structure. You should not forget that it started like an overlapping structure. Yes, it picked up pace at the very final stage, and this is exactly what normally happens with the final subwave C in the corrective ABC structures. But that final emotional push higher is like an exhaustion when too many bulls finally believe that a new rally started, and bears throw in the towel thinking that, okay, probably that was the bottom, and they kept shorting all the way up here, and here we understood we might have probably set a stop here at the previous top, and once the top is taken out, this is why you got such a relentless move up, even though we got a catalyst in the form of that unexpected rate cut. Even if we didn't have a catalyst, I think market would find a reason to rally just to complete that fractal, because until the fractal is completed, we cannot call it completed. We needed to get that push higher to call it completed. Now, coming back to the fractal, now you see what was the goal of that move up. The whole corrective structure was supposed to be shaped as A up, B down, and C up, where C up had to have an impulsive structure. And this is why it was so important to nail the top, because I knew that after completion of that first pullback up, we would get a continuation of the move lower, and that continuation of the move lower in subwave C down should have an impulsive structure, meaning that the drop should be very strong. And I just want to show you what happened then. That was our ABC up, or double WXY. That was the top of the that finished with a spiky move, and then we got wave 1 down, 2 up, and look at the drop. It pushed prices from over 3100 to under 2700, and you may remember that that whole move down in subwave C ended under 2200. So basically, in a matter of days, after the completion of that pullback, ES lost around 900 points. Our key takeaway from this video lesson is: the best chance to nail a top of a corrective structure is to focus on micro counting of the final wave C in a corrective ABC up fractal. If you deal with a double 3 corrective structure, remember, the final ABC should also have that final subwave C, which would normally have a very clean impulsive structure. And the reason for that is that wave C has to have an impulsive structure. Impulsive structure has 5 rules, and that type of structure should follow all the rules applicable to the 5-wave up fractal. And we have discussed those rules in that particular video, and we discussed that until the very final push up in subwave C of 5 makes a higher high, we cannot call the structure complete. And the harmonic Elliott wave theory is great because it lets us to focus on the very final microstructure of that push higher, and the completion of that small structure, which has a clean impulsive structure, would let us call the whole corrective structure complete and be prepared for another push lower in another impulsive wave down.